Hello, Mr. Cox, with another podcast. I want to talk tonight just a little bit more about concerts and things like that. And one thing, when I was talking about Cornerstone Music Festival that we used to go to, let me adjust this a little bit, that's bothering me. I mentioned briefly the Johnny on the Spots. These were little toilets that they brought in, like the remote commodes. You've got a little door that you go into, and you close it. And it's the summertime, Cornerstone. We're talking about July. It was usually around July the 4th. By the way, at Cornerstone, they had some awesome fireworks, July the 4th celebrations, whatever night of the week that fell on. And going in the Johnny on the Spots was a horrible experience. Maybe somewhere there's someone who enjoyed it. I don't know who they would be. I've never heard anything positive. In fact, I won't say the person's name because I don't want to get them in trouble. But one person that we used to see at a lot of different concerts, he would just randomly show up. One time some of the kids we were with tell me they were down by the lake. There's a lake there that is always muddy and stinks. And it only stinks if you're like real close to it to get in it. We had the misfortune of getting in at one time, and we stunk really bad till we get showered off. But we saw the bushes moving, and out this guy came. Instead of using the Johnny on the Spots, he was using the bathroom back in the bushes. So the problem is, they're public restrooms. There's no running water. So I always had hand sanitizer in myself anyway, and usually antibacterial wet wipes, so take a ton of those with me because you had to have some way of cleaning, and other than the shower, and which the shower wasn't that great of an experience either. But in the Giant Spots, a lot of times it was 96, 97, 98 degrees outside, and the sun would be bearing down on you, I should say, and then you would get in this Johnny on the Spot, and it was a literal sweat box. It seemed like a torture device that might have been used during World War II in the POW camp or something, like the cooler, as they used to put it. It was terrible. So you didn't spend any more time in there, any more than you needed to be. The sweat would just be pouring off of you while you were in there, and it's just horrible. So the guy that I was talking about, he's really big and strong. He was, able to pick me up and carry me around, put me on his back so we could do the lake windmill mosh moves and stuff. He goes in there one day, we're waiting on him, and we hear he always had chains, like long chains, because he's in the hardcore music scene and stuff, the screamo scene, back before that, but the hardcore. And so we hear his chains in the ground, and then you hear him, oh crap, because they're so congested in there, and he can't hardly reach down to pull his shorts. Like everybody was wearing like cut off shorts because it's really hot outside, and he had an awful time getting those back up. So we used to talk about something called Johnny Brown stain. So anyway, he made it to the experience okay, but another day he was in there, and he heard the truck, like a diesel car, and then like boom, the Johnny on Spotties inserts moving. They would pick them up every so often and replace them, and they were getting ready to pick his up and moved him around in there, which was just, can you imagine being in there and getting the thing turned over, or being picked up, put on a truck, and taken away where you get out? If it gets turned over, all that's coming up out of there. And they would have people that didn't have money for the tickets and stuff to go. They could make arrangements with you. You could sign up this thing, and you could work for Cornerstone, and it's a completely different Cornerstone. I think there's a Cornerstone, I don't know what it is, health services or something. That's a completely different thing. Don't confuse the two. This is Cornerstone Music Festival, put on by Zappa. It was a ministry. I think it was based out of Chicago, at least that's where a lot of the work was done, with homeless people and poor people and things like that. So it's a good ministry, and Cornerstone was a good ministry. But you'd have to pay to get in, to pay the cost for them to rent all these fields, all the farmers, pay for the Johnny on the Spots, to pay the bands whatever that cost, to get in. I don't think anybody was getting rich off of it, but whatever money, they got off of it. So you get a lot of big name bands who come in to this event. We saw, of course, people like POD back before they were real well known. A lot of other big bands, Living Sacrifice, of course, I mentioned. I could go on list of bands, but at any rate, Zao was big, Slick Shoes, a bunch of them that went big later. So the Giants Farm thing was terrible. But, what else do you do? So I lost my train of thought for a minute. If you didn't have the money to go and you really want to go, you could sign up this thing and you get work detail. One of the most awful work details you could get was pumping out the Johnny on the spots. They all had a tank somewhere on the back of them, and you go with this big truck and you hit this big, I don't know how many inch tube it is. It goes down, it's in there, and I think you have gloves, but you're sucking poo and pee down this tube. There's a machine pulling it, but you got to get it. I'm sure you get it on you, at least on your hands. That's why you had gloves and your shoes and stuff. You didn't watch it and smell it all day in the 95 to 100 degree sun. Terrible. But there's people that did it every year because they just really wanted to go there, and they would work hard during the day, sweat, get in that stinky, nasty stuff, and then they'd be free at night, to run the concerts. And when I say run the concerts, I mean run them, but go from concert to concert. So, that's one thing. Another thing I want to mention briefly is on secular concerts and stuff. I went one time with some of my family and some of their friends to a Van Halen concert back when they were really big. Not like in the 80s when they were really big, but like later. I was trying to remember what it was, late 90s, something like that, early 2000s. It's after Sammy Hagar was with him. So, Van Hagar, if you would. So, Eddie Van Halen just died here, what's it been, a year ago or something like that? One of the best guitarists of all times. So, Baby Animals was open for them, and Dweezil Zappa was there, and it seemed like there was somebody else well known, and then Van Halen played. So, really good show, really good concert. But, we would always, just like I did at the Christian concerts, we'd always find a way to get as close to the stage we could get. So we're going through there, and that's a different scene, This is not any light on, saying anything bad about Van Halen or any other bands. They're just not playing. But because it's a secular concert, even though they checked everything, they even had people screw the lenses off of binoculars and things going in to try to make sure people didn't smuggle in alcohol and drugs, and they did. It was all over the place. It still got in. There was vomit on the floor. You had to watch it didn't slide through because people would drink too much or get too high and then throw up. And you saw people from time to time running to try to get out of the building before they threw up. And booze bottles laying around all under feet and stuff like that. So that wasn't a good scene. So this I will say, I've never been one to smoke, drink, get high, any of that kind of stuff. So I've never been on illegal drugs, thankfully. I know a lot of people who get addicted, so it's a terrible thing, and I don't recommend it. But the only time I ever was high was at this concert. I didn't do anything, but just the contact buzz around you. And then somebody lit up a fat one in front of me that crackled and popped, and it had some kind of bitter, nasty, acidy smell to it and taste to it. And I didn't feel right for 3 days. I just felt like I was floating around, and I was kind of paranoid at the time because I had a really good job, and I kept thinking, they're going to drug test me, and I never even did anything because I don't do drugs, thankfully. But when I test positive, I get kind of paranoid and stuff. But yeah, so even so, you got to watch, because again, not saying anything about Van Halen or anything. I love their music, but what crowds you're with. You can get in bad situations, you can get in trouble, all those type of things. So there was all kinds of things going on at the concert. Again, not the band's fault, it just happens. That I won't even mention, but we were, pushing to get to the front, not harmfully, but it was just, and then people get in the way. And I remember that my brother remarked it, and my brother bought me tickets for Christmas present or something like that for me and my sister. So we all went, and he remarked, because the time I was bigger than I am now too, and very, very strong, and it's just moving like a whole wall of people, and people were in the way and they were pushing back. I just like just shove a whole bunch of people, not hurt anybody, but like moved a whole wall of people as we were trying to get close to the front. So it's a good experience music-wise. Glad I saw it. I've been through other concerts that are more of a like Joe Satriani and Bo Diddley, classic rock musicians that it wasn't a drinking, smoking, getting high scene. I'm not speaking bad about anybody or against them. I'm just saying, those are not things that I want to go to party at. But where you just go sit down and watch it, like in a theater situation or in a building, and I'm glad I got to see some of those people. There's some others that I've seen. I can't even recall who they all are right now, but those are some of the best guitarists. And Bo Diddley, of course, I don't know, but I've been told Bo Diddley put the rock and roll. He was one of the legendary guitarists of the early rock scene, when like rhythm and blues is going into blues, and rhythm and blues going into rock music. And so I'm glad I got to see him. Glad I got to saw Joe Satriani. He was doing his surfing with the alien thing. He's just all over the keyboard, or fretboard. Sorry, not keyboard. But Eddie Van Halen had his own sound. He could go all up and down with one-handed if he needed to, or he could just bump them, with the other hand, and just make that guitar sing like nobody else's business, like nobody else could. So it was a real treat, other than getting the contact buzz and have to not slip and vomit and alcohol bottles and things like that. But the concert was really good. So watch your associations, where you go, what you do, because it can get you in trouble. We used to, and I don't act like that, but a lot of lessons these, but we used to say, when I used to work with at-risk teens a lot, sometimes they would get arrested because they were just in a car of people that were high and had drugs on them, and they weren't doing anything, and they'd arrest them, take them, and they'd get put in a facility as well, because they were minors and they were at risk then. And so, watch what you're doing. Or somebody comes by that doesn't have any money, doesn't have a car, and suddenly they're a nice ride, and they're like, dude, you want to take a ride? And it's not like their uncle's car or something. They probably jacked the car. Don't get in it with them. You're going to end up getting arrested. So music, everywhere from some of the best secular players, that I've got to see, to some of the best Christian artists that I've got to see. Minus the vomit, minus the contact buzz, minus the Johnny on the spots, all that kind of stuff. The music is good. Just be careful, watch what you're doing, stay safe, and out of trouble. Catch you in another one. Hit the like button and the subscribe button. Mr. Cox out.